Well, hi, this is Dave Johnston with Day Trade the Markets. We're looking at a 2-minute chart of the crude as the November contract. You can see I've got a buy limit down here. Where's that? 44.39. It just hit 44.39. We didn't get filled yet. And I've got another order in here to buy at 44.60 should we not get filled down here. So the crude here is what it's really done is had a nice move overnight. It has moved above value from yesterday. And looks like we're on our way to, okay, we just got filled on that. That's good. On our way to possibly even as high as the $45 area. So the reason I got long here is that you can see here that we've got a really nice blue. Where is it? Really nice blue, couple of blue bars right in here, forming this vertical rectangle. You see what we call the high velocity move. So the market moved very, very quickly through here after having really strong selling here. So the idea being that it would probably come down into some sort of support, maybe even as low as here. You can see we have one of our trade location zones of support right here. This is this green area. It's already started. It started here a couple of minutes ago. A likely area of support. I'm actually getting long higher than that because our first area of resistance really was right in here. And then it popped up a little bit higher right here, and then it backed off from there, and then it broke through. And what we often see is when we have overlapping blue bars or magenta bars, as you can see here, and I can just spread this out a little bit, maybe see it a bit better. This is what we call a sweet spot kind of trade. And you can see here that the two overlapping bars here, and I'll just use this. You can see the low of this blue bar overlaps the high of this. So I'll just go ahead and put it in an area. That's a likely area of support. And then, of course, we've also got this area where the market first came up and backed off, and then kind of a higher high and backed off. So we got a couple of good support areas here. In other words, resistance areas where the market is now traded above them, so the good resistance has kind of flipped over to be good support is what we're thinking, and then we've got this overlap here of the very aggressive buying, so that's why this long trade was taken at 44.39. So we've got filled on that, and let me just kind of make that chart a little bit more viewable, and it is starting to move up. So what I usually try and do on this is take a reasonable profit on the first half of the position. So I'm expecting that first area, I'm going to cancel this, so we're already long 4. And so we're long from 39. We're expecting the market at least to test up into these red bars here, which would be 44.60. So from 39 to 59, that's 20. I'm going to put it back down here at 50. Let's say 54. That'll give us a nice 15 tick profit on the first half of the position. So, and it is below the likely area in here, which could act as some resistance, the top of this first red bar. So, it's a fairly reasonable profit. The market has bounced, fairly nicely. You can see we're on side 7 ticks. It's moved up to 50 from 39. So it's moving nicely for us. So I got to go ahead and put in a protective sell stop. And what I'm going to do is now that it has turned up for us nicely, I'm going to go ahead and just identify what that low was down here at 37. So this is 37 here. I want to go ahead and place my stop right at 36. So sell stop for 4 right at 36. And that's a pretty tight stop. I know it's only 3 ticks, but it did come down, the market did come down and test right into our support, and it's had a bit of a bounce. So now that it's had that bounce, I really don't want it to go down and make new lows on this recent little bit of selling. So I just put that stop in fairly close, and risk 3 ticks on here. It's a pretty reasonable stop, I think. We're in an up auction here, and we'll just see how we can do. So I'll go ahead and pause the recording, and I will pick it up when something happens in the market. Either we get stopped, or we hit our first objective, or something else happens in the market and I need to make some other kind of adjustment. But I'll try and keep this recording fairly short, so I will therefore go ahead and put it on pause now and pick it up when needed. Okay, just resuming the recording. It just popped up. I think it came within a tick, or maybe it hit our price. Okay, the high is 53 and our limit to sell is at 54. So just came within a tick of it. Just wanted to bring you up to date on that. And hopefully we'll get filled here in just a moment, and I'll start the recording back up at that time. But I just want to bring you up to date, and once again I'll go ahead and pause the recording. Okay, just restarted the recording. We just got filled on this bar right here that's currently trading, and that's our first objective for 15 ticks. So we're just put a blue marker in there at 44 or 54. So our sell stop now, I need to adjust the number of contracts down from 4 to 2. So I want to go ahead and do that. And this last dip that we had on this bar right here, that came right back down. I think it came right back down to our entry price. Okay, it hit 40. We're long from 39. So I'm going to go ahead and put our stop to break even here. So that's at 39. So break even now, stop on the second half of the position here. We're just going to leave the long trade on. As far as having any next objectives, really the next objective is probably around the 75 area. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is just go ahead and trade one there, or I should say try and sell one. And I think in this case I'll try and sell it at 74. So just sell limit one at 74. The next objective after that is probably around 44.95, almost at the $45 level. So we'll see what we can do on this, see if we can get a nice trade on that second objective here. So do have that in play, and I think on the final contract, should the market continue to rally and fill us at our second objective, 44.75, we'll just go ahead and have a trailing stop on that final one contract. So anyway, there's the lay of the land. I should go ahead and make another marker here for us up here at 74, so we know where this was our first objective here, and of course our entry down here. So once again, just go ahead and pause the recording and I'll pick it up when needed. Okay, just restarted the recording here. You can see that we've had a nice leg up. We've had this nice green bar here. That's a level 2 buying aggression. It did exceed. It took out the earlier highs. You can see that's at 69. This is at 70, so just by a tick. So obviously I don't want this to be end up by being exhaustion, turn around all the way. So I'm going to raise my stop here. The question is to what price. So it's a tough, it's kind of a tough one here, but I'm going to raise it at least a little bit here. Okay, 46. Okay, might get stopped out of this thing right away the way it's moving, but when the market goes up, makes a one-tick new high on aggression, and then its low gets taken out, you really don't want to stay in that trade for too much longer. So anyway, I've made this adjustment on it. We'll see how it goes. It's 39 to 46, so we've locked in 7 ticks on the second 2 contracts of this 4-contract position. So anyway, just wanted to bring you up to date on that. And I should mark in here where that stop has been adjusted to. There we go, so we know where that stop is. Okay, so just bringing you up to date on that. We'll see if this can keep us in or not. Who knows? But I will once again go ahead and pause the recording and pick it up when needed. Okay, just restarted the recording. It has kept us in the market, which is nice to see. We're back up fairly close to our target. But what I did want to do, and why I restarted it, is that this sell stop that we had right here, below this selling bar here, we did bounce and backed off, and now we've come back up again. So I'm going to raise the level of this sell stop to just below this last dip right here. And as you can see, that dip hit at 55. So I'm just going to make sure that's the right price, 55, right? So I'm going to raise this just a tick below it, right? Just one tick below it, 54. And that's actually the price that we were, come to think of it, that was our first objective. So I'll go ahead and just move this marker here to 44. And so, as it turns out, should we get stopped on this, we'll have our 15 ticks on both the first half of the position and the second half of the position. But hopefully, it's going to continue to move higher. I wanted to bring up this stop here because when the market went up, it made a one-tick new high and backed off pretty quickly. We haven't really had the follow-through, which is a good sign for our long trade. However, you never know with the crude. I mean, it could certainly turn around and head on down hard. So I wanted to raise that stop up to here with that in mind, just to protect as much of the profits as possible on this trade. So at any rate, I'll go ahead once again and pause the recording and pick it up if we either get stopped out or our objective at 44.74 is hit, or if some other change needs to take place as far as these existing orders that we have in place right now. Okay, I'll pause the recording and pick it up when needed. Okay, just restarting the recording here again. We just got hit just a moment ago at 44.54, so I want to cancel the stop here. That objective obviously didn't get hit, so we had entered the trade down here based on our sweet spot type formation. So we got long right in here. We exited right here at our first objective for plus 15 ticks on half the position. We adjusted our stop a couple of times and then got stopped here at what turned out to be the exact same price as our first objective. So 15 ticks on the 4 contracts there for a total of 60 ticks. And of course in the crude it's $10 per tick if you're not familiar with the value per tick on the crude contract. So at any rate, there's a trade. It's actually a trade that occurs fairly regularly in the with the day trade the market software because of our when we identify good aggression in the market as we did here. Of course, everything you see now, I put this in here manually to highlight the sweet spot opportunity here, so I'll take that out. Other than that, other than these little markers that I put on here for our entry and our 2 exits, everything else you see on the chart is actually produced by the day trade the market software. So there's a fair amount of information on these charts with the day trade the market software. So if you have any interested in examining it further, attending one of our webinars, or just have questions, comments, just get a hold of us at info@daytradethemarkets. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.